Welcome back, my friends. This is a Bible study or a study of the book of Daniel. Actually, I'm in the second chapter. I never actually videoed the first chapter, just the second chapter. So it starts off in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar. So, did you know that there are two Nebuchadnezzars? Yeah. So I had to figure out which one. I'm just kidding. It's the second one. The There are the reign of Babylon is basically three major um, historical periods. I would say they were as the Amorites because they came from Amorites, and then after they lived in Canaan. Nowadays, it's the land of Israel. And then they were persecuted by God because they made human sacrifice of their babies and usually females, and it was because they wanted prosperity for their people. They wanted prosperity and health and all this kind of stuff, and so they decided to do that. They thought it was normal, but it's not normal. Okay. And then eventually after they were persecuted, they moved to the Fertile Crescent area, which is in Iran. And then they had a long history. I think I had some notes here. Let me show you. I printed out a lot of notes and stuff from different pastors. Maybe I'll show it to you later. Okay, let's see. This was the first notes. Okay. This is the second notes, and I'm actually only on the first verse, honestly. So there's different dates here. It's because I was confused by one of the notes I was reading before I read the other note. So it basically said that the Babylonian captivity was 606, which is right. And then basically Nebuchadnezzar II's reign started in 602, which is not right. So actually he started at 605, right after his dad died. Nebuchadnezzar, I think it is his name. So don't hold me to that. And then he had his dream in 604. So it's not written down here. I think right here. 604. So there we go. So, and then they were descended from the Amorites who lived in the mountains of Israel near Jerusalem. Right now they're tearing down a mobile home that caught on fire a couple days ago. Terrible. I don't even remember who lived there actually, so. Well, anyway. So the Sumerians, the Akkadians, and the Neo-Sumerians, and then the Babylonians, basically. And then it was from the Babylonians from 2000 BC. The city existed before the civilization, so it's really old. From, I don't know, 2300 BC. So my note says from 2000 to 539. Basically and then from the first dynasty proper from 1894 to 1595, and then the Kassites took over for a while, and then the second dynasty of Isin, and then the Elamites tried to take over, then the Assyrians tried to take over. And then finally the Babylonians took over the Assyrians. And then, okay, so basically that's basically what it is. So, And then they lasted all the way down to 539 BC. But the story of Daniel goes a little bit further, I think to 529 or something like that. It's in this note. So let's go look at this note real quick. See if it's in the first page. Are you in the first page? Nope. Second page. Come on, man. This is where I read about the actual date. Okay. So, yeah. I don't know where I saw that. So this is the notes from the first one. Move this. Okay. Where it says Babylon was conquered by basically the Medes and Persians by 539 BC. So I'm not making this stuff up. Okay, and that was basically this guy's notes. Alright, I didn't get it directly from them, all of these notes. No, I did my own research. And so, let's move on to the next page here. So there is over here it says basically the city had a deity called Marduk. Okay, Marduk. And so I researched Marduk. Marduk was a superhero. He was made famous by Hammurabi, and he was associated with the prosperity of the Babylonian people. Powerful protector, blah, blah, creator god. Kind of a similar story as the God of the Bible. As far as the creation of the earth, the heavens and the earth, except for it's a little bit different. And you'll see, basically, I don't know if I wrote it down over here, is humans were created by the dead deity's blood, blood of a dead deity, and then that's how humans were created. I don't know if I wrote it down over here. So let's see, and it had his own temple, and he was depicted as a dragon or a serpent or a hoe or different things, but that was the main things. And he used magic to get the victory. He created humanity by taking the blood of slain God and used it to fashion the first human. His statue is made of precious metals, mostly gold. He was a god of gold. The Babylonians were originally Amorites, and Amorites were from the land of Canaan in Israel. While in Israel, this is like north of Jerusalem, they have a site over there that this archaeologist, this Irish archaeologist, found of them worshiping their god by human sacrifice. So they sinned against God. Genesis 15:16, and God gave them many years to repent, but they never did. And so God started persecuting them. These Amorites did human sacrifice to help their prosperity and all kinds of things. That was their excuse. They created huge stones and lime pits where they burned baby girls and cut them in half and put them in vessels. And then this is the response of God, basically. This is some of the responses of God here. And let's look at one of them. You know, maybe we'll look at Numbers 13:29. Oh. So, let's see. So you're like, well, we're not studying Daniel, we're studying Babylonians. Well, Babylonians is part of the actual history. We're learning the history, the background of what happened. So, let's see. So, as we understand that better, we can then, apply it to what happens to Nebuchadnezzar. I don't know if this is the right one or not. I'm just gonna wing it. So, Numbers 13:29. So here we go. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea of the coast of Jordan. So that's how we know that the Amorites lived in mountains. But the men that went up with them said, we are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched into the children of Israel. And this is a problem. This is like Nephilim and all this kind of stuff. Well, God had a response for that. I think it's in Exodus 3:8. Let's go to Exodus 3:8. Okay, mess this, bypass this a little bit. I went too far. Okay, Exodus 3:8. What's it say? I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land, a good land, large land, flowing with milk and honey, unto the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel, I have seen the oppression wherein the Egyptians oppressed them. Okay. Verse 17. Okay, here he goes. And I have said, I will bring you out of the affliction of the Egyptians and the land of the Canaanites, and to the Hittites and the Amorites, and the Perizzites and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and the land unto a land flowing with milk and honey. What else? 23:23. This is what it says. For my angel shall go before thee, and bring thee unto the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. They shall not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them, and break them down, and break down their images. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. So apparently they were believing in these gods, They were starting to believe in these gods. But no, God is going to be, he's the one who's the, it says in verse 19, he's the one that's in charge of the first fruits, the prosperity of the land. He's the one that he was bring into the house of thy Lord, and thou shalt not see the kid in thy mother's milk. You know, it's just awesome. God is awesome. Okay, our God is awesome. Okay, so let's go back to my notes. Where was I? Okay, so basically, let's go to another page. So I made a little short timeline here. Basically, post-flood, Genesis 10, because that's one of the first verses that mentions the Amorites, where many peoples and gods in the west, Israel, the flooded the now land of the Canaan. The Amorites, uh, God was the Lord of the mountains. This is their God, basically Amor, the God of the mountains. But as they migrated to the Fertile Crescent, because God persecuted them, to the area of civilization that was set up, the Neo-Samaritans called them Martu, or Tidma. Now those Martu were also called Westerners, and these Westerners served Marduk. Martu. Interesting correlation. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think that's interesting. So Nebuchadnezzar is from the Neo-Babylonian period, and he had dreams. He dreamt dreams, and these dreams can either be the normal, healthy kind, nightmare dreams, which is not healthy, and prophetic dreams. So imagine that. So let's go look at the Bible. That's as far as my notes go. Okay. Let's go all the way back to where I was supposed to be. Why did I take my marker out? So let's go look. In the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherein his spirit was troubled and his sleep brake from him. So do you think this was a nightmare? It sounds like it's a nightmare to me. But it's more than just a nightmare. It's something more. And the first level, you would think it's just a nightmare. But it's not just a nightmare. So, otherwise, it probably wouldn't be in the Bible. I had a nightmare. Okay, well, too bad. So, basically, the Bible is divided in the book of Daniel, chapter 2, is divided verses 1 to 13. Basically, it's a reaction of Nebuchadnezzar all the way over here. And that's basically as far as I want to go. And then the next part is verse 14 to 30. It gets over here. 30. Alright. And then verse 31 to 45. 45. Right there. And then 46 to the end. Alright. Let me give you the exact titles of these subsections. One in this note here. Wrong one. Wrong one. Alright. So verses 1 to 13 here. It's the reaction of Nebuchadnezzar. Okay. And I haven't studied this section here. I need to. I want to get to this. But I want to study it on my own. Then after that, it's the... let's see. Oh yeah, it's the request of Daniel, 14 to 30. And then it's the revelation of the dream. Basically, the unveiling of the dream. What it actually means, what happens, and, what does the dream mean? Its dream was... And then the results of for Daniel and his friends. So that's basically how it's categorized. So I also use other notes too besides these notes. Yeah. So this is some other notes that I use. So you'll see this dream in Daniel, Babylon, Persia, Greece, iron, clay. Interesting. And then another different note here. Later on, yeah. Maybe next video. So my next research is this section here. So I'm just gonna read from verses 1 to 13, and we'll go ahead and conclude here. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then the kings commanded to call the magicians, the astrologers, the sorcerers, the Chaldeans, to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, The thing is gone from me. If you will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, ye shall be cut into pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. A dunghill is basically a big giant poop hill. But if ye show the dream and the interpretation thereof, ye shall receive of me gifts and rewards, and great honor. Therefore, show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. And they answered again and said, Let the king tell his servant the dream, and we will show the interpretation of it. And the king answered and said, I know of a certainty that ye would gain the time, because ye see the thing is gone from me. I thought it was killing me, guys. Give me a second. But if ye will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you. For ye have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me, till the time be changed. Therefore, tell me the dream, and I shall know that ye can show me the interpretation thereof. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, There is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore, There is no king, lord, or ruler that asks such things of any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. It is a rare thing that king required, and there is none other that can show it before the king, except the gods whose dwelling is not with flesh. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy the wise men of Babylon. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain. And they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. This is the story. The background is where they came from, right? And one of these things is I noticed is that Babylonians, that Nebuchadnezzar is a new king, right? His kingdom just barely started, and he's testing the old guard to see whether their words are good or not. And basically, he wants them to show the interpretation, but they cannot. They say only God could do that. Well, they're right about that. Only God could do it. So what's going to happen? Is God going to show up and interpret the dream for them? No. That's not what happens at all. Let's find out next time what happens. All right.